2, 1, go.
Cat dog.
What's going on, Mike?
Nothing.
What's going on, everybody? Tales from the Bottom of the Ocean, the greatest philosophy podcast in all of human history.
Manually blink.
Stop harassing the audience, Mike. Sorry for coming on a little bit late, but we're just gonna breeze. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I punched the camera because I got pissed. Broke it.
And then I was so pissed that he punched the camera. I punched the same camera.
Yeah, I have absolutely no. Well, I don't care about anyone else's well-being but my own.
All right, so Mike, remember what we did last time?
No.
Okay, so I'll just remind you then. We learned about the founding fathers. Their vision for America. They wanted America to be a society filled with virtuous people.
Read Catholics.
Yeah, basically. Canonized by a document that ascertained their inalienable rights granted to them by God. So, we're going to talk about that. The whole idea of the oneness of humanity being that sort of essence and spirit inside of you that can determine, you know, what
makes it America and what makes it foreign.
Exactly. All right, so we're gonna see if America is redeemable, like as a country, like if Western moral ethics are redeemable, and we're gonna do that with our special guest, Darvinder Singh. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
How you doing? A little louder. Not too loud, but you know what I mean.
He's fine.
Oh,
It's fine.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Jeez.
Yeah, we had technical difficulties, so we're all really loud now.
All right, so Gary, as you preferred it to be sort of what's the word, shortened to?
Yeah, childhood nickname.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and what we're gonna try to ascertain is the sort of
You use big words very frequently for little reason.
what do you mean ascertain?
Ascertain.
Well, okay, so how pick a shorter word for ascertain then, Mike, go.
Ascertain this cancellation, boy.
Yeah.
Big fackies.
Okay, so shorten ascertain for me, Mike. Go ahead.
Ass. All right, moving on. Let's ask these questions.
Anyway, but the purpose of the questions is to see if
To ascertain, if you will.
well, to ascertain whether or not there is some level of validity to the sort of Western values that America is predicated on. So, like the idea of like individualism, liberty, sort of self-reliance, virtuousness, and personal responsibility.
The ability to give us money on Patreon. Do the thing, I don't know it.
Patreon.com/Area22.
Yeah.
That's where you can find us.
We're getting a little
Desperate.
irate.
Yeah.
No, we're not getting desperate. We're getting angry
Why?
because we need more money.
Well, don't worry. By offering,
I figure like I'm gonna do the one thing that one guy does. I don't know what his name is. I forgot. But he's found out that when he threatens his subscribers, he gets more of them. So I'm gonna start threatening people for money.
don't do that,
So give us money.
or else.
Yeah, or else
Okay.
I'll cancel the show.
Anyway, how you doing, Gary? First question.
Sure.
Well, this first part of it, I guess, is kind of moot. But where were you born? The first part's who are you, but we already established that. Well, actually, who are you? Where were you born, and when did you immigrate to America?
I mean, who am I? There's so many answers to that. What you really want to know? When I was born in India. I came here to U.S. about 10 years ago.
So you were how old?
When I was about 15. When I was 15 years old, yes.
As to the who are you part, well, we're going to discuss identity a
Who
little bit.
are you, as in who am I, as what do you mean by as what my beliefs are?
Well,
what
we're gonna discuss. Yeah, we're gonna discuss a little bit more
or
on.
just
I guess
my
your
name.
No, I guess it was more referencing your name, but like we're gonna talk about your sort of individual identity a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, so you came here. We said when you were 14,
Yes.
and before that you had lived basically like your entire childhood up until that point in India.
Yes. A year before in Canada, but otherwise the whole childhood in India.
Why a year before in Canada?
My family's there
Okay.
too, so I came to Canada before.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Can you tell us how your life in India at sort of contrasts from your life? I guess, 'cause I guess they considered the North America to be part of the Western world. So, I guess in the Western world, or I guess America specifically.
My life or actual people's life?
Well, I mean, either or. If I mean, you can. I guess if you want to sort of associate your experiences with the sort of experiences of the people you lived around too, you can do that.
Okay, the way I grew up is it's very different. It's very relaxing. It's chilled out. Just because the way in the family that I grew up in, because we own a lot of land there. So it doesn't mean that I do have work. I can do whatever I want whenever I want. There's no clock in, clock out, and it's more relaxed. You don't have to be fast paced all the time. So it's a lot more easier if you put it that way. But it has its own perks, and US has its own perks. So.
We'll get to that, but like more on this sort of on I guess this, like, would you like how is wealth sort of determined in that part of the world that you're from?
I mean, relationships are more important to people.
Yeah.
And friendships are you can make friends very easily there, even your best friends. You can easily make friends here, which is really hard. To make at least one good friend, but over there relationships are the primary importance part, and in the culture everywhere. But money, yes, it's important for your survival, but here it's the other way around. It's more money driven. It's more
defining of your whole entire
yes, it's like
existence.
your success matters how much money you make over there, how happy you are with your family, and how many people around you are like
happy.
How many around you are happy, or like how many people you manage to
connect with
your whole life, because it's super easy there to connect and to make friends and to be just hang out and chill.
Really, is that, hold on, let me think for a second.
I feel like you got an answer you didn't expect.
No, I'm trying to extrapolate more on that answer because I think it's
Extrapolate.
because I think it's very interesting. Like, why do you think it's so calm? Like, is it? Hold on, can I ask? Like, is it because of? Is there a lack of like extremely rigid structures, or is it another reason?
It's just, I think the way you kind of grew up, the culture, because I'm still in touch with my childhood friends over there. It's been 10 years. I went back this year. It was the same. Whereas if I, met somebody here, friendship doesn't last longer. Either when somebody left the job, you keep in touch. You don't keep in touch. You don't meet because you don't work there anymore. So it's very different because of the culture you kind of grew up on. It's not, the culture itself is not success based. It's more relationship based. More you need to be relaxed and calm and chill and just live your life and let other people live.
That sounds awesome. I don't want to be here anymore now.
Well, that's actually very interesting because I mean, well, honestly, I have a lot of questions. If just based off of that answer alone, there's so much
I'm sure
I can pick from that. What?
I'm sure the level of friendship Americans have correlates with the amount of stress and how fast paced it is compared to there.
There's a lot of
People God only knows where an American could end up.
No, the problem is when you ever spoke to an American person, not because I'm an American, I took a citizen, but anybody who grew up here, the most of the answer that I got was that they hated their high school. Where with me, it was very different. I loved my high school there because the way the way the classes are over there, the community based over there. I don't know how it was because I didn't go to high school here, but every single person I talked to, I didn't had any friends in my high school. That's the answer I usually got. I was unpopular. I was popular, but people hated me. It was more like high school is just it's not a good place to be here in the US.
American high schools and American prisons may as well be the same.
Well, hold on. No, let me explain. So the thing about the American high schools that I can say it with certainty is that they're very structured around the they're sort of structured to give you a taste of how your life will be economically, I guess, in the real world. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very dog eats dog, and that sort of gears you up for the sort of dog eats dog world of American business. You know what I mean?
Not really.
Wait, you don't know what I mean, or you disagree?
I mean, I disagree to the point where the high school's your teenage and you want to grow. At that time, you're growing up.
Yeah.
You want to learn. That's when you actual values you got, not around the age of 9. You got started getting around over that time. So what you'll see and learn, it's kind of stays with you the rest of your life. If you feel like everybody's on to me, or I just have to be competitive, obviously you are going to be on, like, feel that people like me, or I have to be competitive all your life. If you just make it a little bit community based, chilled out, relaxed, but still learn a lot. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about they train you, yes, but most of the conversations that I have with the kids, they don't know anything about half the world's history. They only know the Western, so they don't even know most of the European history. They don't know anything about Asian civilizations, what happened if you talk about the history.
Yeah.
They don't know the half the world's education, what happened. The only things that they know is about the Hitler or the genocide that happened. They don't know Asian civilization at all. So it's like either I don't know how education system work, but it's more like that's just super interesting to me. Like why everybody hates their high school. It's just supposed to be fun.
I went to a Catholic school, so I had to pay for my high school. I took world religion. I took world religion. I took world history. I learned about all that kind of stuff in high school.
Well,
I can't really speak for public schoolers here because I wasn't a public schooler. I learned different things.
Well, I went to public school, and I think what I was explaining sort of holds water, and the fact that like they try to, I feel as if they, for one thing, it's set up not to be fun. It's set up to essentially make you as focused, like try to enhance your focus essentially, but it's doing that much to its own detriment. It's doing that very horribly.
They don't want you to learn. They want you to learn how to take tests well.
They want you to learn how to focus. They want you to learn how to stick to regiments and schedules.
It's not real learning.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Indian high schools are just about fun. There are science classes you're taking. There's math. There's history. You're taking everything.
Yeah.
And but you seem they make it more community based.
Like in what way? Can you explain?
I mean, like the people you're going to be with, like I guess here you choose the classes which you want to take.
Kind of, yeah.
To an
Over
extent.
there,
There's some required,
It
but
just set classes every year that you kind of have to take. So you are with same people over the years, and that becomes a little bit community based. So because you see that person every single day for pretty much 10 years or 9 years, that make you more friends.
The interesting thing is that like people are generally happier, I know, when they have less of a say in the choices that they make during their, like, say, their childhood, or during like so they did this experiment I hear, like, where they, like, for you won a prize, right? Yeah, you won a prize. You have like they have two groups of people. One group of people, you won a prize, you get a blue shirt. Another group of people, you win a prize, you get a red. You can choose between a red and a blue shirt. And people who had the choice actually were less happy about the prize than the people who just got the stuff. So I think that actually has something to do with it, like actually having a formula for the development of children. I guess makes it maybe seem it gives you a lot more room to sort of make it more about community, I guess.
Yeah, it just automatically becomes when you're taking hard classes with the same person that you know from your kindergarten. Obviously, you are going to help each other a lot when the test is coming up, and you're obviously going to feel more connected because you know each other from very young, and you're going to play together, you're going to classes together, you know each other very well. Obviously, it becomes a big community, and then you just feel like you know these people all your life, and you end up becomes best friends, and not just one best friend, probably a couple of good friends.
Like, I can relate to that, because, like, in Catholic school, like, I went to Catholic school since kindergarten. I know most of the people that are from kindergarten today, because I've been with them from kindergarten until 8th grade, and then even going into Catholic high schools, a lot of them came with me.
Yeah.
So, like, I never really, like, I knew these same people for years. Like, the oldest friend I have is about not the oldest friend age-wise, but like the longest-lasting friendship I've had is about 17 years. And
it's
I know
a really deep
most
connection.
of the people, yeah. I think it's just something with the public school system that's a problem. Because you don't get these connections.
Well, it's just for the public. Like, really.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't even know if there's anything you could do about that. Because obviously, a public school would have more students in it, and it would have more.
It's about as
coming
much.
and going.
Yeah, it's about as most. It's about the most access like you can have the average person be allowed to gain some kind of knowledge without it being extremely expensive for them. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
That's it. Well, I guess because like so the main thing that I feel it really categorizes America, right, is mass production. Like there's mass media, there's mass food production, there's mass, basically like soldier production. Like when I say soldier, I mean like making basically as much stuff as possible for the many people. You know what I mean? Like a lot of smaller nations, like I say, like take like Iceland, for example. A lot of the things that they have that are too much to their benefit is their small population. So like they can expand social services to such a degree that to where everybody gets coverage no matter what. Even though like say there's certain caveats like taxation, but like since the community is so closely intertwined, they can spare them a lot more than say in America where you're spared a lot less. And a classic example is in America, a lot of people can only have access to insurance for healthcare when they work. Like a lot of the well-being of the community, like you said, is incumbent on the individual person. So they have to act very responsibly in the community so everybody can benefit. This is what you're saying, right?
No, I wouldn't. Okay, the point, you're going to a different level now with the mass producing in the US. I was just talking
Yeah.
about the values that you usually got.
Oh, yeah.
Because India is still a third world country in the end. And, yes.
Don't worry. But he's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, India is still a third world country. You know, if you classify it with the first world country or third world country, if you believe in that, it's a still not developed country. So if you're talking about the mass, but obviously US is a lot, better at it.
Yeah.
But where I come from, what I have seen, it's the values that I see different.
Yeah.
Yes, according to the opportunities to grow your business, yeah, there's a lot more in US than I would say in India. But if you talk about the values, those are definitely going to be different. Morals, the values, the basic cores are different. The other ones, it's the same. You want to be successful, you do have to. It's a cutthroat competition everywhere in the world, wherever you go, and that's just basic human nature, that you just fight for your survival, for your success. But the core values are just different. Otherwise, I don't see much difference.
That's very interesting.
I don't.
It's nothing you're doing.
It's something you're doing. It's actually to fix it.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. But that's interesting. But I guess to bring that to a close, basically, America is the main sort of difference is that in India, it seems to be a lot more relaxed and community focused. In America, it's very stressed and focused on hard work to, I suppose, ascertain
I mean,
success.
hell, in New York, someone could be screaming for help, and 1 million people walk right past that person.
Yeah.
And it's more or so because it's America's so used to call itself, the world's biggest power, or whatever you want to call it, that sometimes they don't look at the basic needs. Sometimes what happens is
Because they're trying to fulfill that quota. is what you're saying.
I feel a little bit there, but otherwise, yeah, it's a very developed country. There's where people still complain. Where India is developing, there's so many poor people. I feel like people are complaining a lot less. Here, it's a super developed country, and I feel like complaining is a lot more.
Yeah.
and
These people have a lot higher standards
and
for
higher standards,
standards.
from a government. It's a really developed country, and
What does the, this is kind of one hell of a question, but like, did you expect anything from your government? Like, or did maybe your parents expect anything from the government, I guess, of India? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people expect sort of, some people would want their basic needs and necessities met, like, from the American government, but like, what is...
no, because it's again still developing.
Yeah.
So people work for themselves. They really don't expect too much from the government unless you have a government job. Where I grew up, majority of the people have their own thing going on. Somebody's doing a farming, somebody else is having their own thing going on.
How did taxation work?
For farming, it's free. You don't have any taxes on farming.
Cool.
And because you produce pretty much a majority of the wheat or the corn or anything eating related for the whole country, so there's no taxes on
So
farming.
they just don't bother you.
So it's for the farmers. It doesn't matter to the point what government is offering, because the farmers are pretty much looked at a privileged people because they own land. They do their own thing. They don't file taxes. That comes to the point where when you want to take. If I was still in India, if I have to take admission in college, I have to have a lot more better grades than the people who don't own land. I have to like be 100% than other people who are just getting B grades. I have to be like A+ in order to get a university.
Because your standards are higher?
Because I have the land.
Oh,
And
okay.
other people really don't.
Is that
Which
like
is-
I'm sorry, is that some like government mandated thing, or is that like a social
It's
stigma?
a government mandated thing.
Oh, okay. Because you own land, you have to maintain
Yeah.
your status.
It's not about the status. It's more like you have the means of income.
Oh,
And the other people who don't own land or who don't have their own businesses going on, they should have the first say in the government job, because they want job more desperately than anybody.
oh, so
than
it's
me.
taking into account your socioeconomic status.
Yeah, so like for me, it would be harder to get admission in a better university than a person who don't own a land, because I have the means of income, and the other person might need a job.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't need a job.
I'm sorry, are you listening to that? That's
Yeah.
that's insanely interesting, isn't it?
And
That's
so it's there, but yeah, like for me, it would be super hard to get into the best university. Unless I'm really, really like worked hard in my high school and got all the A+.
oh.
Or I have to just pay a lot more money to the university to just get into that.
That is very interesting. I feel as if that's a lot of can of worms, but I'm gonna go to the next. I'm gonna go to the next question. All right. So what was the hardest about shifting from that kind of society to this one? More specifically, New York, because I mean, I guess
We're a special breed.
yeah, New York's a bit of a microcosm.
I mean, the thing is, when the moving part is always hard because you don't know anyone when you come here. And it's definitely a culture shock, and you leave your friends behind. You basically have built a net around you where you live. You have to pretty much leave everything. You will learn a new language. I knew English, but I never really spoke it. Like we used to converse in my language, which is Punjabi. At home, I still do in Punjabi, but over there, I didn't need to. I know how to write since I'm very young, but when I came here, the main thing was I don't know anything. I need to be fluent in English and for my survival. And it was
Yeah.
more or so I don't have any friends to go out with. That's the thing. Like you kind of becomes a little depressed. Like, what is this? I'm
Yeah.
not used to it. Why the houses are so small? Why everything is what's really going on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to New York, I found it was definitely different because people are usually nicer in the other parts of the world. I mean, like, it's New York is more from like me because I can say what I feel, and that's how New Yorkers are usually. They
Yeah.
say what they feel, and it's none of like
Usually negative.
I think New York is a better place than most of the other cities. I would say I would rather prefer upfront person that I don't like you than somebody fake say that, oh, you're awesome, and then in your back you're like,
The sort of fake hospitality
I
that you
would
get some
rather
other
have
places.
somebody just come on your face like, I don't like you, just get away. So that's the nice part of New York, that you get what you get.
Yeah, because at least you're setting boundaries at that point. Like, okay, that's just the person you don't go to. That's the person you don't go to. This
Yeah,
person,
like it's over there. You can just have random conversations on it. Like you can, but not with everybody. Like if you're sitting in a train, like, or you're waiting for something over there. In India, we used to have like, if you're drinking a coffee or something, you sit with some random person, stranger on your way to bus, on train, and you just converse them. But here, not maybe out of 100 times, maybe twice, I would say. No, because people don't want to be bothered, and rightly so. They're just tired. They're working 9 to 5, and they want to go home and chill. They want
Yeah.
to talk to a stranger.
Your individual time is more important, really.
Yeah, and they don't want to talk to people. They don't care what you're doing, what's happening.
Yeah. It's like the sort of circadian rhythm is it's really, I guess, to disturb it is really just kind of seem
plus
as blasphemous.
Yeah.
And it's the wording. You have to be very careful.
Oh,
with
what
the
you
wording,
say.
what you're saying too.
Yeah.
And I was just saying whatever I felt. Here, you're just like, okay, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. There is a lot. There's a social order that people do, I know, like to maintain really strongly, whether or not they like it or not. Where it's like, okay, so we work. We're going to work, like this sort of hidden contract that you made, like say on the subway, where it's like, okay, all of us are going to work, right? And without even saying anything, it's like, okay, so nobody say anything, nobody bother you. I need to hear the ding on the little intercom for the subway to tell me if my stop's here. It's like, it's not personal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's never really personal.
No, it's not personal. It's just like, I'm not saying over there it's not like that. If you go to the cities, people are doing the same thing. They're doing 9 to 5 or what
Yeah,
the
it really
job
is more like a
what
city
the
thing.
shifts are. People over there in the cities do the same thing. But in the end, if you're traveling or something, they're friendly. For sure. That's the difference. It's not like all over the other worlds people don't do jobs. Those in every country there are jobs, but in US it's a very special people here who with very strong, especially in New York, because everybody want to make it big.
Yeah.
And you find very strong-headed people here, especially in the city. So they don't want to be bothered because they want to get it done. They set a goal for themselves. They want to make it big. It can be a business, it can be engineering, it can be entertainment industry, it can be anything. They have the goal. They want to make it big because New York is one of the well-known cities in the world.
The city of the world, basically.
So everybody here who works, they want to make it big to the point that they don't want to listen to anything. They just want to be bothered.
Yeah. Like, was it hard to sort of adjust to that lifestyle?
It is. It was. Not the lifestyle itself. It's just the hard part was finding those same connections.
Oh, okay.
And was more because I don't know pop culture as much. At least I didn't. I still don't know the songs. I still don't not watch as much Hollywood movies, but I do watch American TV shows. So you kind of end up relating something with the person over there. When you kind of grow up, you watch the same shows, same songs, and you can have a lot more common to talk about. Here it's just sometimes that's why you don't make too many friends when you're new to the country, because you don't have the same common things going on. You don't watch pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's like this is a bit of a
You just like
bit of cognitive dissonance.
so like people say, it's more fun when you say like I really I was like, yeah, I watch Hollywood movies, but people like, yeah, you watch they are it's like, oh, okay, you watch one of those, and I'm like, yeah, I like them. Don't worry, it's okay.
it's like a sort of it's a large vacuum you gotta fill, like, because you don't really know.
Yes, it's you initially you don't really know, because it took me, I would say, 2-3 years to figure out the behavior of the people. Because you usually you have a nice conversation. I used to at least end up thinking that we are friends, but the other person might not think the same way.
Yeah.
So it took me 2-3 years to learn that okay, if you're having a nice conversation, where in India, if you are having that kind of a nice conversation, you are by the end your friends. Over here, if you have nice conversation, goodbye, you never want, maybe you don't see that person ever again in your life.
Honestly,
Which-
sometimes I'll be honest. I kind of hope that I never see them often.
Yeah, so it's
'Cause it's
more
just
like, because
reminds me-
yes, they want to have a conversation, but just say it that you don't like me, which should make it life so much easier. People
Yeah.
are a lot more blunt and vocal in India. If they don't like you, they pretty much tell you. As relaxed as they are, they have their own net of friends. If they don't want you, they don't want you. Period.
It reminds me of the friends you make at like vacation that you'll never see ever again. Think about them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what happened to that kid I met in 7th grade, like in Florida.
Yeah, it's those which took me around 2 years to figure out. Oh, okay, that's how it works.
Yeah. Like what was the easiest thing to adjust to?
I mean, it's because I had my family here, so I didn't have to juggle around to find an apartment or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had a whole house here, so it was easy. Otherwise, people who come new here it's just there's no easy initially.
Yeah.
And nothing here because you're done, emotionally you don't have friends around, so it's super hard initially. People who don't have a family here, for them to adjust to the country and plus then. And the one thing that it is nowadays, yes, everybody has beard, everybody grow beards, and it's a trend. But when you're brown and you have a beard, it's just super hard anyway.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. Wait, what do you mean?
I mean, after 9/11, it is a bit hard anyway.
Oh, I know what he's saying.
Oh, you
And
mean
you're
you mean
brown
like
and
to
have
wear
a
the
beard.
you mean the turban? I mean,
Well,
sorry.
that-
Well, to wear
grow
the
out your beard,
Yeah.
you'd be profiled.
So it's a bit, yes, it's not fortunate enough. I haven't seen too much, but I have seen enough where I just don't feel the need to explain why I'm wearing what. Where I was like, I don't need to explain to you, and then I can be very blunt about it. And then there was conversations, and you're like, why I'm like, sometimes you do, when I was initially here, sometimes you do feel like, why am I here again? And you're kind of like, okay, because sometimes people ask you these kind of questions. You're like, why are you here? You are stealing our jobs. Then because a lot of engineers I heard are from India,
yeah.
and then after a point you stop listening, you started reacting to them. My answer usually is very blunt and say that you guys are not smart enough to handle a job like engineer or a doctor. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
That is usually
Well-
was my answer. It's not like you guys are not smart, but if somebody is coming up with that question to me, my reaction is going to be,
Why aren't you the engineer?
yeah, like just to why are you driving a cab
It's
to
mostly
school?
it's mostly ignorant people who would never be a doctor or an engineer ever in the first place to say that kind of thing.
Well, you know what it is.
I've
They're
never
just-
seen a doctor say something like
No,
that
they're
to
just
someone
they're
else.
just parroting talking points from their favorite late night talk shows.
I guess.
Really, that's all it is.
And I would say more or so people only know about 3% about India, and then they kind of like, when you come up, they ask the weirdest question. You're like,
Like what?
How do you learn how to speak English? Second, how do you all you guys have arranged marriages? Third, the third that you get when you're brown and look, you have a beard, are you Muslim? Which I don't think anybody's business. If whoever religion I belong to, I don't need to explain.
Yeah.
The fourth is like, do you guys have a lot of elephants? Which I found it weird. Do you guys found gold in your rivers? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, so many dumb questions. I'm like, have you never read a history or a book in your life? Like, I never asked
Well-
any American, like, oh, are you rich? And all are you guys are white and rich? No, I knew when I walked in.
Are there bald eagles everywhere?
It's like the dumbest question I have is that I've been asked. I was like, what does not make sense to me?
Well, I think it's kind of. I mean, I feel as if you can tell when it's malicious. Like I feel as if most of the times it's kind of like a very cute kind of skepticism. Like I don't like I won't say their name, but Tease thing, you won't know who it is. Oh no, okay. So like I was explaining to this one a friend that we work with, like I was explaining how like melanin essentially works, and no, I was saying how like it prevents your skin from essentially like flaking off. It prevents you from developing mutations.
Oh.
No, but hold on. The funny thing was like that. I'm
Get the
sorry.
hell off of me.
They asked me if like wait, so can like black people get like skin cancer at all?
No, that is the question. Like, no, you have that. I have heard a lot, and I know the melanin and everything. And then people come up to you, you got tan, you're tan. You know, like you when you're brown, you're like, okay, you have a great tan. You're like, no, this is
No,
not
I'm
my
brown.
skin color. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's how it is.
Are you
And,
tan or brown?
yeah, and then you're like, I don't mind. I don't have a problem calling myself brown or Indian at all. I've been told to change my take diction classes to change my accent. I don't feel the need to at all because
I can't even imagine faking an American accent.
it's not about faking as much as they want you to adjust how you speak the tongue. You don't fake then. You just learn how to pronounce the words differently.
Yeah.
And so because there's this notion which is that when you have a little bit of accent, I can understand every accent very well, where most of the times I have seen it, if you have a little bit of accent, then what happened is most of the time it happened is like, I don't understand you what you're saying.
Yeah.
It happened at most of the time at work. I just usually say 2 minutes ago we were having a nice conversation. Then now you're saying that you don't understand me, which kind of makes it weird. Then these kind of things kind of bothers you in the end, but after a point you're like, you get used to it.
Yeah.
You take it to after a
you
point
take
I
it
was
in
like,
stride eventually.
I was like, yeah, whatever, it's fun. After a point it's just amusing. It's just like, people can be dumb. Like you can just
Yeah.
come up with these.
But largely people are friendly though, right?
Yes, I've been very fortunate. Like where I work at IKEA, people are super friendly. So I never seen anybody like not so friendly. I've seen people are friendly. If you really want to be friends, yes, you can be.
Yeah. But I guess to bring it to a close, like I guess the most difficult thing is obviously the initial culture shock, and then what made it easier, thankfully, was what made it easier was the fact that you didn't have to like search around to settle. Like you can settle, like your parents already owned property and that you just settled immediately.
It was more, yes. It was easier, for definitely a lot easier, because you have somebody who tells you really what to do.
Yeah, you were young.
When somebody who comes in not knowing anything, it is extremely hard. First of all, you don't understand what credit score and the difference of credit score and credit card.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is credit score? What do you mean? Like, they were like, and then because I was so used to with my phone in India, I wanted to have my phone when I initially came here. And they were like, you can't own a phone because you don't, have a credit score at all because you just came here. And I'm like, okay.
Wait, do you mean like an
Actual phone, because you need to have a certain amount of credit score so they can approve you for the phone. I couldn't have the number, like.
That's stupid.
Wait, no, what?
Yeah.
Wait, you need to have a solid credit score in order to have a phone.
You need a decent at least. I know when I came here, I had to do it through my cousins because they grew up here.
Yeah.
So once I kind of raised up my credit card, then I owned my name.
I'll ask you about that later. Hold on. We're actually running out of time.
Yeah, we have 10 minutes about.
Less than.
8 minutes.
Jeez. As usual, I make too much content. All right.
Ask him a juicy question, why don't you? Make the show
We
interesting.
got a message.
Oh, did we?
It's from Chris. He says, Mike,
No.
crack a smile.
Shut up, Chris. Get a job.
Jesus Christ. Well, do you have any questions for the guest, Mike?
Let me read your questions. And come up
Okay,
with
no. Make a question. Go on. Hold on.
What if I give me the damn paper? I know what I'm doing.
Co-host.
Yeah, I'm a co-host. I already know the question.
You just heard a weird creaking sound.
You got some weird questions. Do you believe America is redeemable? What have we done to be irredeemable?
Well,
I mean, other than pushing all the Native Americans out, and
Mike, no.
other than that and everything else.
So, okay.
Didn't we save the world like 7 times?
Mike's gonna go
Well-
put a vote on us.
Look, to make an omelet, you gotta crack a few eggs, okay? I'm sorry, that's the American way.
Yeah.
Am I irredeemable?
I'm getting a little lightheaded. Hold on. Anyway. No, but like to explain that sort of question, I mean, like, do you? I mean, we all have a gross idea of
America has a stigma. We have a stigma of being war hungry. We have a stigma of being greedy
and interventional.
and dumb
Yeah.
and fat.
Well, yeah, we do have an obesity epidemic, so that one's kind of true. But and like mainly sort of okay. So hold on, less America, I guess, and more like say the Western world. Like I mean, India was under colonial rule by the British Empire for like I don't how long. I don't remember. Like
That's one thing America-
300 years.
300 years.
300 years.
during that time, a lot of really horrible stuff happened. Obviously. To put it very lightly, but like what I'm asking is that like despite like these very glaring issues, right? Like and when I say issues, it's being fairly charitable. Despite these very, you can argue very awful things and very unjust things that happen. You know, like
Basically, what are some good things about it?
no, that's not as easy as saying like what are some good things. Like, do you think that overall like I guess America as a nation is still a good idea. Like, is it redeemable on its own merits, despite its demerits? I guess. Like, feel free to just say no. Like, you know.
It's redeemable is not the right word. I won't say that because every country had its own wars. America had its own. Though there's World War II, there's other countries involved. It's not just U.S. dropped the bomb everywhere. It's a good country. It's just that the people who lives here, they only pretty much know about U.S. They particularly don't. I will use the word ignorant. They are very ignorant. That's the only thing I have seen. They're not open to learning more about other cultures, and what the other things. For very few people, I would say there's very few people who are very open. Other people who are grew up here in a very American mindset. According to them, it's just that there's a notion that if you grew up in India, you're a lot more superior than the other people who come from different countries.
Wait a second. Jeez, I'm sorry.
I mean, they have that thing that they are a little more superior.
People who grew up. Well, you're saying people who like it's people
who
in
grew
India.
up here, they think that they're a lot more superior than the people who are immigrants from any other country. Where, like, if you even take an entertainment industry, I would say a lot of 900% people will say like, oh, Hollywood is really better than, which I call it Indian cinema, but I would say no, I don't like Hollywood at all because I wouldn't understand. Didn't relate to me at all. So it's weird way to put it, but I would only think the U.S. is awesome. I live here. I have a couple of friends. I live my life here, but a lot of opportunities. But there is one thing is that ignorance, which can be a bliss, but the ignorance is there with every single person here. Not every single, but most of them.
Yeah.
They're not open to hearing the other perspectives. Because there's two perspectives here in U.S. white perspective and black perspective. I don't have either.
Oh,
I
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. Like, it's either you're pale or you're brown, and like that's the two groups basically.
Yeah, the color never mattered to me because I grew up in a country where color doesn't exist as much. It doesn't bother people how they look. Where in the US it does a lot more because I'm brown. I'm allowed to say certain words which I think white person will never be allowed to say. It would be offensive to other people.
Do you think that's not a good thing? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, yes. In the end, does the color really matter? That's all I'm saying. For me, it really doesn't. I never looked before when I was here color as a thing. Yes, I look brown. My family is a lot lighter than me, but it never really bothered us. But since when I came here, there's two perspectives. U.S. people here who lives here, they don't have one perspective. Every individual have its own, but majority there's two. It's black perspective and white perspective. I don't have either. I just come from a different country, and you just have your own perspective.
And the thing that sucks is that oftentimes people who aren't white, like say like Asians, like often get clumped into that white perspective as well.
Not necessarily. It depends how you want to adapt.
Well, like, 'cause-
what kind of community you want to adapt.
Yeah.
When you're new, you always want to adapt. You
Well,
not
yeah.
necessarily you want to adapt to only white. You just want to adapt where you feel fit in.
Well, let
where
me.
people are more
yeah.
welcoming.
Let me explain, like, because oftentimes they'll say, like, there's this idea in, I guess, in intersectionality called whiteness, whereas, like, where or whiteness. Okay, Mike, do you mind if we actually go on for a little while longer? Because I actually kind of want to ask, like, one more question.
Is that okay?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Okay, like, this is idea of whiteness, where basically, like, it's a collection of principles and ideas, like some aspects of, like, maybe like superiority of like a certain race, that a lot of races that tend to be on higher social, like, economic levels tend to get clumped in with. Like, that's why I sort of say that it's like it's an idea that really came out of, like, sort of university and, like, social justice theory, but that's the only reason why I sort of brought it up.
I mean, okay, if I ever, racism is everywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about color, sometimes it's according to religion. If you ask me about India, it's about the caste system. That's also racism. Here, I would be lying if you say that you do have a certain advantages if you are, because you're not looked. People don't look at you as as suspicious if you're white. Yes, that's there, but otherwise.
Depends on the context, but yeah.
But that is there because it didn't happen to me happened with a lot of government cops, but saying it and then work on your way up and then make it more equal. It is equal as long as I just felt a little weird.
Hold on, Gary. I'm sorry. You really.
For me, it's just like when the color is just. I feel like when even at work.
Yeah.
People just talk about color so much that sometimes it seems to me that they're just blaming white people, that need to just stop that sometimes. And they're not born, they didn't do anything wrong, their ancestors might have. And like I would say my British people, I don't hate British people, their ancestors did what they did in India. Like sometimes I do feel a lot of talking unnecessarily about color, which shouldn't be happening at all. We can all live in peace and calm and happy. It doesn't always have to be you're white, I'm black, and brown, and just whatever. It's okay. And I have seen just so much talking which need to be stopped, because I feel like it makes every whole environment weird, which is like, oh, white is this, there's not inclusion, there's not diversity enough. It's just there's a lot more action needed to take place instead of a lot more talking, because there's a lot more talking happening, not action.
It feels as if like we could honestly do better by just really seeing each other more individualistically.
Yeah, I'm not
Person to
just saying
person,
that
not
you're
just race
white
to
that I don't want to hang out. Like I have, like it's
Imagine.
just so weird. The energies I've seen are just so weird. Like we just have to stop saying like, because it makes a white person who was actually born white is like, did I do something wrong that everybody's looking
It makes
at
you feel
me?
alienated.
Yeah, so it's just stop saying it. I don't ever say it unless somebody have a
Like you never introduce sort of race into the way that you
it's more
approach
like
people.
I just usually say as a person I like a person or I don't like that person. It never comes to color or anything or their culture. That's the personal level. Here people judge you how you look or how you behave.
I really wish we had more time.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't, unfortunately.
But I guess to put it to a close, I mean, geez, we talked about it a lot. We had a really nice long conversation.
The boomer goggles are on.
I mean, the last question, which is the biggest one, I really we just don't have time for anymore.
It was also very convoluted, and we didn't understand it.
I would have explained, but we just don't have any time.
Jesus, that's a long question.
But like, yeah, it is pretty long. But I was gonna short it. But I guess in closing, I mean, the sort of, I guess the purpose I had for this episode was just to sort of obviously get the perspective of somebody who's lived in, say, like a different country, but also to see how it like really contrasts with, I guess, the culture here in America. What I mean,
Very defeatist culture. Some of the people in our generation and the millennials feel.
yeah,
'Cause they think America's the absolute worst place ever, and they've never even left the country.
yeah. Like,
That's the point, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I take great pride that I'm coming from India, but I just don't see that in Americans.
yeah.
that
It's
they
not
don't
there.
take pride.
Is that bad?
Should.
We wallow
Oh.
in the past.
Listen, there's so much more to talk about. I'd love to talk about this more. I'd love to get you on again, Gary, so we can talk about even more, if you'd be willing.
Sure. Why not?
Maybe if it becomes a very popular thing, we can set up a part 2. But thank you all for watching. This has been Tales from the Bottom of the Ocean. Thank you so much, Gary, for coming on. Mike, did you have fun?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm bored.
I'm not bored. I'm not bored.
All right, we're going down. All right, and that's